Hello, fellow book readers. My name is John, and today I want to go over my favorite book in every year since 1990. Now, originally, I was going to do a video where I did my favorite book in every year since I was born, which is 1991. But then I saw another YouTube channel, Matt's Fantasy Book Reviews, do a similar video where he did his favorite book in every year since 1990. And I thought, oh, that was cool. Why don't I just do that? But this will probably end up being a long video, so I want to get started right now. Keep in mind there will be spoilers for these books that I talk about. Okay, so starting off with 1990, there were three contenders for this. There was The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan, which is the second book in the Wheel of Time series. Tianu by Ursula K. Le Guin, which is the fourth book in the Earth Cycle C series. And Eye of the World, which is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. The easy choice for me, well, not easy, this is actually a hard choice, but the choice for me is going to be The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. It just edges out Tianu, like just barely edges it out. The Great Hunt, in my opinion, is where the Wheel of Time starts getting great. Like, Eye of the World, it's fine, it's okay, it's whatever. I have some problems with Eye of the World, but The Great Hunt is amazing. There's a couple parts in the beginning that are a little bit slow, specifically when Rand is going in the Portal Stone with Selene and Horan and Loyal. Those parts kind of bore me a little bit, but the climax from when Egwene gets collared to the end of the book is actually my favorite climax of any of the Wheel of Time books, and one of my favorite climaxes I've ever read. The character work in this is very good. The plot is great. The world building's great. Trust me, read Wheel of Time, you're going to love it. The Great Hunt is awesome. 4-star book for me. Okay, moving on to 1991. There's no nominations. It's really just a one-horse race, and the winner is The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan. Yes, the beginning of this list is going to be very Wheel of Time heavy, but Wheel of Time is my fourth favorite series of all time, so that shouldn't be surprising. I have said in multiple videos now that I think The Dragon Reborn is the most balanced book in the series. It's good front to back. There's nothing about this book I hate. Does it peak as high as some of the other Wheel of Time books? I don't think it does, but it's still, it's like probably my 6th or 5th favorite Wheel of Time book, somewhere around there. Yeah, love this book. So I can't say enough about it. It's also the book where Rand and Matt, in my opinion, become great characters. In the first two books, they're a little bit whiny, a little bit weird, a little bit stupid. Not my favorite characters of all time. Thankfully, the rest of the cast carries them. But then in The Dragon Reborn, they both come into their own as great characters. And Rand specifically, even though he's barely in this book, starts his journey of being one of my favorite literary fantasy characters of all time. Just love this book front to back. It's very good. There's nothing weak about it. Okay, and then we move on to 1992, which is really a two-horse race. It's The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan and The Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. For this, it's The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan wins again. This is probably objectively the best Wheel of Time book. It's not my favorite. I wouldn't put it number 1 or number 2. For me, it's my third favorite Wheel of Time book. But I think if I was to just take subjectivity out of it and what's my favorite, I think objectively this is probably the best book that Robert Jordan's ever written. Front to back, it's just a masterpiece. The climax here is awesome, where Rand accepts that he is the Dragon Reborn finally, and he gets declared the dragon. No, he doesn't get. He got declared the Dragon in the Great Hunt. He gets declared I forget what they call it. Whatever the IL calls the Dragon Reborn. You also got the Two Rivers arc in this book with Perrin and Fael, and I think it's one of the best arcs in the series, just period. And it's the best arc in this book, in my opinion. And there's just a ton of other great stuff in here. Some really great tower politics, some really great tower stuff going on in this book. Yeah, just awesome book front to back. It's long, but it's great, and it's objectively great. There's nothing bad about it. Okay, moving on to 1993. This is a two-horse race again. This is Fires of Heaven versus The Last Wish. Fires of Heaven, of course, is by Robert Jordan, and The Last Wish is, of course, by Andrzej Sapkowski. And for me, this is going with Fires of Heaven. This is one of 2 Wheel of Time books that I give 5 stars to. It is my second favorite Wheel of Time book. For a while, it was my favorite, but now I've moved on to a different one that I would definitely put ahead of it. But this is still a 5-star book. Great book with 3 different climaxes. Yeah, I can't talk up this book enough. It's just so good, so action-packed, so character-driven, so emotional, like everything about this. And again, it has 3 different climaxes, and all 3 of them land. Like, the book could have ended with the Battle of Karen, and it doesn't. The book could have ended with Rand versus Lanfear, and it doesn't. And the book finally, it does end with Rand and Nynaeve versus Raven, and that's another great climax in and of itself. And don't get me wrong, Rand doesn't get all the shine in this book. Matt is really great in this book. Egwene is awesome in this book. Nynaeve and Elaine are really great in this book. Now, this book doesn't have Perrin, but it doesn't suffer for it because it gets to focus a lot on the other characters. And I think that was a really good choice by Robert Jordan, even though I love Perrin. I think at times you need to take a break from some of these characters so you can really focus heavy on some of the other characters and the plots that they needed to go by. Yeah, just a great book, front to back. It's a perfect book. I rarely give 5 stars, and I gave this book 5 stars, so that should tell you. Okay, moving on to 1994, and I promise the Wheel Time stuff is ending soon, but 1994 is again a 2-horse race. It's Lord of Chaos by Robert Jordan and The Blood of Elves by Andrzej Sapkowski, which is the first book in the novel part of the Witcher series. But for me, this is Lord of Chaos again. It's just a great book. It's 4 stars. It's the longest book. Could it have been shorter? It definitely could have, but it's great. It's so great. This is where I say the series starts picking up on the heavy politics. Before this, there was heavy politics that reminded me of the Song of Ice and Fire with the Aes Sedai and the White Tower, but nobody else really. Now you get the entire world doing like these crazy sort of political machinations, and it's very Song of Ice and Fire like before Song of Ice and Fire began, and it's awesome. So character driven. Is the action as good in this book as the others parts of the series? No, and that's part of the reason that I don't think it's as good as The Fires of Heaven or The Shadow Rising, but it's still great. It's still great from front to back. Do keep in mind it is the longest book in the series, though. Yeah. Okay, and now we're on to 1995, and we got a 3-horse race going in 1995, and this one was really close. One of the closest ones I had. It is The Lions of Alorsan by Guy Gavriel Kay, The Winter King by Bernard Cornwell, and The Time of Contempt by Andrzej Sapkowski. For me, I am going with The Lions of Alorsan by Guy Gavriel Kay. It is probably the best combination of fantasy and fiction I've ever read. He managed to blend it together really well, and the ending is so emotional. It made me cry. When a book can make me cry, I tend to bump it up in the star ratings because that means it's doing something great. I think this book did a lot of great character work. I was invested in all 3 of the main characters, plus some of the more peripheral side characters. It had a really, really great climax, like I said, but leading up to the climax was so good too, and there's a lot of tension in this book. And yeah, it just spoke on like real life problems that even are still going on today in a really powerful way, especially involving religion. And yeah, just awesome. Again, this book is kind of about historical Spain, but they give all the lands and all the different religions and all the different people different names. So yeah, it's really good stuff, and I highly recommend reading Guy Gavriel Kay. I know I'm definitely going to read more of him next year after reading this book, because this book ruled. Okay, then we move on to 1996, and we got ourselves a 4-horse race, but really the winner was never in doubt. We got a Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. We got Baptism of Fire by Andrzej Sapkowski. We got Enemy of God by Bernard Cornwell, and we got A Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan. But again, the winner was never in doubt. It's A Game of Thrones. A Game of Thrones had immediate impact when it landed in 1996. Everybody wanted to write a book like this. Fantasy started turning more dark and more gritty and had less magic in it. That's what publishers wanted. Game of Thrones changed the landscape, and the book holds up today. It is so good. The character work in this book is amazing. The world building in this book is amazing. The twist at the end with Ned getting beheaded, it's not even at the end of the book actually, but let's call it like 75% of the way through the book, is amazing. Like, it's just so many good things about this book, and I can't talk it up enough. You're going to be driven by the political machinations of A Song of Ice and Fire. My favorite series of all time, and this book, I think, is one of the best intro books ever written. I think it might even be my favorite intro book ever written in a series. It rules. I can't talk it up enough. I don't really know what else to say about this. I'm not reviewing the book today, but it is great. Okay, 1997 is a 3-horse race. We got The Tower of Swallow by Andrzej Sapkowski. We got The Philosopher's Stone, or The Sorcerer's Stone, by J.K. Rowling. And we got Excalibur by Bernard Cornwell. As much as I want to give this to Excalibur, because it is my favorite of the Warlord Chronicle books, I'd be lying if I didn't give it to The Tower of the Swallow, which is my favorite Witcher book. This book just rules. It is Ciri's book, and Ciri is my favorite character in The Witcher, not Geralt, which is probably unpopular, but I don't care. I like Ciri a lot. I think Ciri is just a more interesting character in general from top to bottom. And this is her book, going across the lake. That climax is terrifying and filled with so much tension. And the trauma she goes through in this book is second to none. Yeah, just really, really great book, front to back. Does it not have as much Geralt as some people want? Yeah, it doesn't. But it also has some great scenes from Yennefer. There's like a great Yennefer arc in this book. It does have Geralt in it. He's just not in it as much as probably some people would want. It has a really great villain. I think Bornholt is his name. I didn't write it down, and I'm not, so I don't actually remember it. But great villain, just awesome. Really, really great book. So I can't speak up about it enough. Okay, 98, we move on to a 4-horse race. We got The Path of Daggers by Robert Jordan. We got A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. We got A Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. And we got Holes by Lewis Shire. I say all that to say I think we got an upset here. The winner for me is The Path of Daggers by Robert Jordan. I know some people would pick A Clash of Kings. A Clash of Kings is still a great book. I gave it 4 stars. But it is my least favorite of the 5 mainline A Song of Ice and Fire books. Where A Path of Daggers is, I think, the most underrated Wheel of Time book. I love A Path of Daggers. I think it was a refreshing take on Wheel of Time. I thought the formulaic Rand versus Forsaken climaxes were getting too repetitive, and I really liked what we went with here, where the main crux of this book was Rand versus the Song-Chan, who I think are the best antagonists in the book. So for me, that arc really, really worked. Plus, it's the first time we really see Rand lose. Really, it's more of a draw, but it was interesting and set up, I think, some much needed results. I thought it made us believe that Rand could lose, and then I thought we had a great climax with Nazrim Tame kind of betraying Rand, which you could see coming from a mile away, but it's still really, really strong here. You didn't know what book it was going to happen in, and I thought he did a good job of pulling the trigger in this book. It also has one of the best Rebel Aes Sedai scenes in it, where Gwaine takes power from the Hole, which is just awesome. And yeah, I love the Ball of the Winds plot, and it sort of continues on in this book. Well, actually, sort of like the aftermath of the Ball of the Winds plot, but it really works in this book, telling you a great story. So, love Path of Daggers. Can't talk about enough about this book. Some people say the slog starts here. I just heavily disagree. I think Path of Daggers is a great, great, great book. Okay, and then we move on to 1999, and I hate to say it, this book, it's a one-horse race. It's just The Prisoner of Azkaban. The Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling wins 1999. I just think it's my second favorite Harry Potter book, but I think if we're looking at things objectively, it's probably the best Harry Potter book. Subjectively, it's my second favorite. I think the climax of this book is awesome. It is also the only book that really just doesn't have much Voldemort mentions in it. He's just not a major driving influence of this book. But yeah, you get a lot of backstory, a lot of good world building and lore here. I thought Sirius Black is one of the more interesting characters. Remus Lupin is my favorite Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. I think this is the series where it went from middle grade to young adult. It sort of is just more dark and grittier. Don't get me wrong, I did read this book when I was 9, so 8. I can't remember if I read it in 99 or 2000. But still, I do think this book is more young adult than, say, the first 2 books, which are definitively middle grade books. Yeah, I just love this book. Think it's great. Can't recommend it enough. Okay, and then we move on to the year 2000, which is a 3-horse race for me. We got A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. We got The Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. And we got A Winter's Heart by Robert Jordan. I say it's a 3-horse race, but it's really not. It's A Storm of Swords. A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin is the winner. It's the 3rd Song of Ice and Fire book. I think it's generally considered arguably the best fantasy book by most people. I don't know if I go that far, but it is my favorite of the Song of Ice and Fire books, and Song of Ice and Fire is my number 1 series of all time, so I could make a case that it's the number 1 fantasy book of all time for me. There's just so much happens in this book that is phenomenal and great. It's great front to back, and it's action-packed front to back, and it's character-driven front to back, and it all works. And has some great twists and turns. Of course, it has the red wedding and the purple wedding, but there's some really great Jamie stuff in this book too. Jamie is my favorite A Song of Ice and Fire character, and I think he's awesome in this book. I think this is his best book, and I think he delivers a lot in this book. So yeah, I can't speak to this book enough. It's a 5-star book. It's arguably the best fantasy book of all time. If you haven't read it, read it. Okay, we're getting into some lean years for me because this was a period where I wasn't reading that much. Fantasy-wise anyway, and stuff I was reading, I wasn't really enjoying that as much. But 2001 is actually a really good year for me, but there is only 2 books here. You got The Other Wind by Ursula K. Le Guin and Tales from Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. I'm going to go with The Other Wind, which is the series finale to the Earthsea cycle. I think it's a great climax, a great series ender with a really strong climax that made me cry. When the girl left on the dragon and Jeb and I forget the other girl's name, watch her leave, basically her adopted parents watch her leave. It's so sad because they don't know if they're ever going to see her again, and we don't know if they're ever going to see her again. But Ursula K. Le Guin does know. She wrote that in the afterword. She knows if they'll see her again, but we don't. Yeah, just a great series ender, and I do think Ursula K. Le Guin is at her best when she's writing sort of about the sexes, when she's writing sort of about how her theming is about how sort of feminism, and I think that's when she's at her best, and this is another one of those books where that's the case, and yeah, just really, really strong stuff here. The Other Wind is a great book, a great series ender, and it's one of the reasons that Earthsea Cycle is such a great series for me. Okay, 2002, again, these are lean years. 2002 is a one-horse race for me. It's Coraline by Neil Gaiman. You could argue this is more of a horror book, but to me it is horror fantasy. And yeah, this book's great. Front to back, great. It has great humor. It has great action. It has great sort of world building in it. And it really, really is a quickly paced story that works really well. It is only a novella, so keep that in mind. But front to back, I had a blast with this book. Easy 4-star read. One of my favorite standalones of all time. Do keep in mind it is a middle grade book, though. Middle grade novella. Okay, 2003 is really a 2-horse race, but I'm going to tell you 3 books. You got Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling. Dream Songs, a retrospective, which is George R. R. Martin's short story collection from the 60s through the early 90s. And The Crossroads of Twilight by Robert Jordan, which is arguably the weakest Wheel-Time book. Really, I'm just including that to throw out another name. That really never had any chance of winning. The winner for me is Order of the Phoenix, which is my favorite Harry Potter book. It's it's one of 2 Harry Potter books I give 5 stars to, that and Prisoner of Azkaban. This one's my favorite. It just has a lot of Dumbledore stuff in here that's very good. It's the longest book. I love the Dumbledore's Army stuff. I love the 3 or 4 great Dumbledore scenes in here. I love the prophecy lore. It has a great climax. The Battle of the Ministry is just awesome. Umbridge is a really annoying character, but she's a really solid antagonist. Don't know what to say. The character building in this book takes things to another level. This book is very kind of dark. It has a sort of a dark gray shade over the entire thing, but it's very good. Okay, and now we're up to our weakest year. This is the weakest year on the list for me, 2004. There's only 1 book, and I think it's just very good. I don't think it's great, and that would be A New Spring by Robert Jordan. I like this book a lot. It's very, very, very good. It's shorter. It's quickly paced, which for a Robert Jordan book is kind of weird, but it works. I think there's some really great character work here. It is a prequel to the Wheel-Time, so keep that in mind. But I think Moraine, I want to know more about Moraine. Moraine's one of my favorite characters, and I love that we got to explore her early Tower years. We got to meet Lan in this book, and we're in his head, which I didn't love being in his head, but when we're not in his head, he's a great character. There's more Salon in here. We get some more cameo appearances like Katswain and Leilani and a few others, and they all work out really well. Again, this book has some great humor. We get to explore the Black Aja plot more, which is one of my favorite parts of the series. So yeah, love that. Yeah, this book's just very good, and I feel like it was trying to take advantage of sort of the Harry Potter craze. Let's throw out a more young adult Wheel-Time book, and I do think Robert Jordan kind of stuck the landing with that, and it worked out really well. It's a very good book. 2005 is just an action-packed four-way race, and a really tough choice for me again. So 2005, we got Knife of Dreams by Robert Jordan. We got A Feast for Crows by George R. R. Martin. We've got The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, which is the first Percy Jackson book. And we got The Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. For me, and I hate to say it, The Knife of Dreams just barely squeaks by A Feast for Crows. I am so sad that I couldn't put A Feast for Crows on this list, but A Knife of Dreams is my favorite Wheel Time book. It's a 5-star read. It set up the end so good, and it drove conclusions for 3 different arcs that had been going on for 3 books at this point. You got the Fael arc, you got the Perrin arc, and you got the Elaine Andor arc, and all 3 of them were wrapped up in this book in like a really good way. He managed to wrap up all 3 in great ways. Of course, we got Matt's continuing arc here with Tuon, which delivered. We have Rand going through some really tough trauma in this book, and he's not in this book as much as he normally is, but he went through some really tough trauma. And then, of course, we got my favorite bit here with Egwene being imprisoned in the White Tower. Yeah, just such a great scene. Honey and the Tea is my favorite chapter. It's in this book. It's my favorite chapter in the series by far. It's a really long chapter, but it's so good. And then, of course, you got the Golden Crane in this book. How could I forget the Golden Crane? Nynaeve going to call the Golden Crane for land. Just so good. This book is perfect. And it makes me so sad that Robert Jordan wasn't able to finish the series because, don't get me wrong, I love the Brandon Sanderson books, but the way Robert Jordan wrote this book with his heart and his soul, he set up the end in such a perfect way. I have no doubt that he would have delivered the end in an equally perfect way. 2006 is a 1-horse race, but it didn't need to be more than one. It's Mistborn, The Final Empire. It's the first Mistborn book. Again, the first 25 to 30% of this book is kind of a drag. And by saying a drag, I don't mean it's bad. I just mean it's very slowly paced. But then the last 70% of this book is just a race, and it's so good with such great character work. Elend is one of my favorite fantasy characters of all time, and I just love his arc in this book just at the ball reading books. So good. Vin, okay, she takes a while to get going, but once she gets going, she's solid. Sazed is again just an amazing character. Kelsier, just an amazing character. And again, the end of this book just really works, and I can't speak up this book enough. It's a great book. Read it. 2007 makes me sad because it's a 3-horse race, and I love all 3 of these books. It's The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling, which I think is one of the best concluding books of all time, and The Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan, which is my favorite Percy Jackson book. It's the 3rd in the series. I love that book so much. But the winner is Well of Ascension, which I gave 5 stars to. I think it's the best Mistborn book. I love the siege. I think sieges are really hard to make entertaining, and this siege goes on for the entirety of the book, and it's quite a long book, and it's never boring a single time. I love the politics of it. I think Elend, and I forget the girl's name, but she's one of Say's daughter, and she's just an awesome character. I think they have a great teaching moment in that whole thing. I love sort of the twist with the dog. Such a good twist. I think Vin really came into her own in this book in a very positive way. I think the climax of this book, the action is so good and tense. And then, the end where Ellen dies but doesn't actually die is such a good ending. And, just really strong book front to back. Okay, 2008 is a 3-horse race. It is the Dark Lord trilogy, the Star Wars book. It's sort of an anthology of 3 different books. And Hero of Ages, which is the 3rd and final Mistborn book. I am giving it to Hero of Ages, but it is closer than you would think it is. Hero of Ages is a great book. Don't get me wrong. I love Hero of Ages. It's a 4-star book with a great ending. One of the best endings to a series I've ever read. Just the end of the book. But I do think that the fact that we get spooks chapters in this book is really weird and strange. I didn't love that. But everything else about this book is perfect. So it's a great book, front to back. Again, the end made me cry. And this book also features my second favorite battle speech in literature. So, love Ellen's battle speech in this book. It's not as good as Theoden's in Return of the King, but it's close. Okay, 2009 is a 2-horse race. We got The Gathering Storm by Brandon Sanderson and Robert Jordan, and The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan, which is the final Percy Jackson book in the original 5-book series. For me, it's The Gathering Storm. The Gathering Storm is my 4th favorite Wheel Time book. I love this book. I had been waiting for the White Tower climax to come, and Brandon Sanderson and Robert Jordan wrote this in a spectacular way. yeah, the plot threads of this book are so good. I think Veins of Gold with Rand sitting on top of Dragon Mount is such a good chapter, and we get sort of Divine Rand here. Don't get me wrong, some of the voices in this book are a little strange. Matt's, especially early Rand, and even Perrin, just really strange and not right. But I was able to overlook that and just look at the whole of the book. And again, I'm somebody who Egwene is my favorite Wheel-Time character, and this is her book, and I think she delivered in it in really great ways. And I'm glad this book was written the way it was. So yeah, just an awesome book. 2010 is such a hard book. It's such a hard year. Okay, so 2010, we got The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. We've got The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. We got The Broken Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. And we got Towers of Midnight by Brandon Sanderson and Robert Jordan. For me, I'm going with Way of Kings. It's the epic fantasy series of the 2010s, and the first book delivers in a lot of ways. It's kind of slow paced, don't get me wrong, but the last half of this book is it's beyond perfect. The last half of this book is legitimately beyond perfect. And the character work here, all three of them, Shallan, Kaladin, and Dalinar, are all really great character work, and there's so much good world building here. How can I not put this number one? Trust me, it hurt my soul to not give number one here to 100,000 Kingdoms, which I don't think gets the recognition it deserves. But to me, it is Way of Kings. 2011 is just a one-horse race. It's A Dance with Dragons by George R. R. Martin. Don't get me wrong, this is not my favorite A Song of Ice and Fire book. I would put it fourth, but it's still great. Like, even better than great. Like, almost near perfect. Love this book so much. After years of being away from Dany, Tyrion, and Jon Snow, you get all three of them back in this book in major ways, and all three of them sort of deliver. Again, some of their parts are a little bit slower than normal, but they still deliver in different ways. You get a lot of North lore here, especially with the Manderleys and the Boltons, and I think that part really works. I know some people didn't want that, but for me, I love that, so I was all about that. And I think Jaime has some really great moments in this book too, even though he's not in it as much, but his stuff in the Riverlands is just, it can't be overstated how good that stuff is. So, yeah. For me, this is a great book. Okay, 2012 is a two-horse race. We got The Snow Child by Ewan Ivey, and we got Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. For me, it's The Snow Child by Ewan Ivey. That's getting the win here. I give that 5 stars. It is my second favorite standalone of all time. It's just filled with emotion and great theming and great pacing and really great magic that you don't know if it's magic or not at the end. And the book asks you basically a question at the end. It leaves you wondering exactly what happened, but it doesn't do that in like a malicious way or a bad way like some books can sometimes do it. This book does it in a great way, and if this book doesn't make you cry at all, then I don't think you're a human. 2013 is a two-horse race. It's A Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas and A Memory of Light by Brandon Sanderson and Robert Jordan. Again, I was somewhat disappointed with A Memory of Light, even though I do think it's a good book. So again, I'm not saying it's a bad book. I think it's a good book. I wouldn't nominate it if I didn't think it was a good book. But for me, it's worse than A Crown of Midnight. I like Crown of Midnight more, so Crown of Midnight wins this year. It's the second book in the Throne of Glass series. It is kind of a very young adult book, but I do think the last 50% of this book is a race, and it's a very good race with some great character work and some really good action and some very good world building. The first 50% of this book, it's not slow, but it is less focused on the plot and more focused on just some character work, which is quite good. But the plot did seem to be like, where is this going until about 50% of the way through the book. But when that happens, the last 50% again is just perfect and great, and I love it. So, Crown of Midnight is the winner for me this year. Yeah, you guys are going to hate me here. Really, you're going to really, really hate me. 2014 is a two-horse race. It's Air Fire by Sarah J. Maas and Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. I know Words of Radiance is considered one of the best fantasy books of all time. I know it's one of the highest rated books on Goodreads, but for me, Hairfire is maybe my second or third favorite book, just period. So Hairfire is the winner for me. I love this book. It does the trauma healing storyline better than any book I've ever seen. It has some really great world building. This is where she expanded the world and dove in like 3 different areas, and I think she world built great in all 3 different areas. It sets up the second half of the series in such a powerful way, the main arc of the series in such a powerful way. It answers questions, but leaves you with some more questions to wonder for the next few books. It sets up some really great antagonists. Yeah, and the action is just perfect, and you really get to explore the magic in this book because it's sort of a magic training book. And yeah, love it. Love this book. It's 5 stars for me, easily. Just a perfect book. Okay, 2015 is a 3-horse race. We got a Queen of Shadows. Not a Queen of Shadows. We got Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. We got Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and we got Half the World by Joe Abercrombie, which is just a young adult series, which I loved. But for me, this is Queen of Shadows. I think this is objectively the best book Sarah J. Maas has ever written, but it's not my favorite. Again, Airfire is my favorite. This would be my second favorite, but if I'm just looking at things objectively, I do think this is the best book she's ever written. Front to back, it's just really strong. Like, every part of this book is strong. Like, the climax of part one could have been the climax of the end of the book, and it would have worked. Like, this is almost feels like two books in one, but two books in one that's blended together in a way that it feels like one book. And yeah, just all the character works deliver here, and this is like almost peak Aelin in terms of like her power. This and Empire of Storms, I would say, and yeah, you just get a lot of like great Aelin in this book, and Aelin's one of my favorite characters just ever in fantasy. I think she's number 2 for me, so or number 3, depending on the day. Yeah, just love this book. Okay, 2016 is a 2-horse race. It's Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo and Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. For me, it's Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This is probably the best heist book I've ever read. I know it's not as... I think Six of Crows has a better rep online, but most people think both books are great. I love Crooked Kingdom. It's near perfect for me. I gave it 4.5 stars. I just love this book, and I think it has a great end. Don't get me wrong. When I initially read the end, I was not as high on it because I did not think Matthias dying after the climax just felt right or fair, and I was like, why the hell did they do that? I just felt like she was doing casualty for casualty's sake. But the more I got away from it, I realized that's not the case, especially after reading the King of Scars duology. Yeah, I just think this book really, really, really rules, and it delivers on everything. And it's sort of like Six of Crows on steroids. Don't get me wrong, I think Six of Crows is a great book, but I just love this book so much. Okay, 2017 is a 3-horse race. It's Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson, A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Swab, and Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This is really, really, really close for me, all 3 of these books. They all are 4-star great books for me. But I'm giving it to Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson just because I think the climax of this book is probably the best climax he's ever written. And yeah, it's beyond perfect. The climax of this book rules. The first half of this book is a bit of a drag. It's not bad, but it is slower than probably the rest of the series. But like I said, the last half of this book is just perfect. And this book has some great character work and really sets up, I would say, the final 2 books in a really powerful way to leave you guessing as to what could happen to our main heroes. It doesn't seem as straightforward as it did after the second book, where, our main heroes are definitely going to win. So yeah, really, really like this book a lot. Just, it's great. Okay, 2018 is a 3-horse race. We got Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, which is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. We've got Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, which was a surprise read for me this year. I love that book. And we got Fire and Blood, which is sort of the George R. R. Martin's Silmarillion in a different way. I'm going with Kingdom of Ash. I think it's the best finale book that I've ever read. Best is being too objective. I think it's my favorite finale book that I've ever read. I love that book front to back. The trauma in that book is second to none. It has the right tone, but the end is just so good and heartwarming and will make you cry. Yeah. So yeah, I love this book. Don't know what else to say about it. If you haven't read Throne of Glass, read it. But if you don't want to read it, that's fine too. But yeah, I love Kingdom Ash. 2019 is another 3-horse race. We got The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. We got The Wicked King by Holly Black, and we got The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. For me, I'm going with The Dragon Republic, which is the second book in the Poppy War series by R.F. Kuang. I love this book. It is so great. Like, it's near perfect. It's by far my favorite of the Poppy War trilogy, but it's also just like one of my favorite books I read, period. Like, I love this book. I think it does everything right. It has great action, great character work, great world building, great mythology. Just everything about this book delivers. Our characters are sort of great characters here, but I think they make more morally right decisions in this book. They don't make decisions that seem, or maybe morally right's not the right word, but they don't make decisions that seem out of character like they do in the following book in the series. It just really, really works in this book. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this book. It's just great. On to 2020, we got, it's a 4-book race. It's Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, Piranesi by Susanna Clark, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, and A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. King Fisher. For me, the answer here is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. To me, this is the most underrated Stormlight Archive book. Most people have it as their least favorite Stormlight Archive book. I see this book get shit on a lot. For me, it's my second favorite Stormlight Archive book. I think all 3 of the plots in this book really deliver. I love the Tower plotline front to back. I love the Shadesmere plotline with Adeline and Shallan front to back. I think the Dalinar plotline is the weakest of the three, but I still think it delivers in a very good way and sets up the last book in the way it should have been set up. Nothing bad about this book. If you can't find something enjoyable in this book, try rereading it again and see if you can find something. Because I understand some of the flashback chapters are not great. They're definitely the weakest of the 5 mainline flashback chapters, but they're also the shortest of the 5 mainline flashback books. There's a lot here that's just great. Okay, moving on to 2021, we got Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. We got Shadow of Gods by John Gwynne. We got Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. And we have A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. For me, the answer here is definitely Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I love that book. I think it's a great series finale to the Grishaverse. Now, I get that there's probably going to be another Grishaverse book sometime in the future, but if she just never wrote another one, this is totally fine. It ended everything in like sort of the perfect way. The only reason this book isn't even 5 stars for me is because I don't think it needed the Darkling. I think bringing the Darkling back was a mistake. But other than that, this book is perfect with some really great character work. Like all the characters really work here. And the plot and the battle and the action and the climax and the post-climax stuff just all really delivered. Okay, 2022 is really a 2-horse race. It's One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig and Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. Hunger of the Gods is my favorite of the Bloodsworn trilogy, but One Dark Window is one of my favorite books ever, so it's just One Dark Window. Easy 5 stars for me. I love the magic system, the card magic. So powerful, so good. I love the character work here. I love the cliffhanger ending. I love the atmosphere and setting. This is another book where setting can really like drive the book. Like I think Rachel Gillig writes setting and atmosphere as well as any author I've ever read, and she just delivered here in sort of a gothic setting, and it just really, really, really worked. 2023 is a 4-book race for me. We got Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. We got Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. We got Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And we got Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. For me, it's Two Twisted Crowns. Again, this is the sequel to One Dark Window. I love this duology. I think this is another 5-star read. I think this is even better than the first book. This is probably in my top 10 books of all time. I love this book. Don't know what to say. Everything about this book is great. We get an extra point of view character, which I think was a great add-on by Rachel going into this book. I thought it was actually kind of needed, and it worked out really well. I love the world building in this. She takes the world building up to another level in this book. And this book has a great, great, great climax and conclusion and finale and post-finale. So, yeah, just love this book. Okay, 2024. This one is super close. It's actually a 5-horse race. Our first 5-horse race of the day, or only 5-horse race of the day. We have Empire of the Damned by Jay Kristoff, A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett, House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, and Fear of the Gods by John Gwynne. And I am going with Empire of the Damned by Jay Kristoff. Barely beats out A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, but it does. This book rules, just front to back. It rules. It's a step up from Empire of the Vampire, which I also liked a lot. But this book, front to back, is great. Has a great cliffhanger, and it sets up the final book in such a great way. Some great action. I really think adding the sister as sort of a point of view character worked out really well, because Gabriel being in his head for like 700 pages is a little bit jarring. But adding a second point of view character, I think really, really works. I think this book answers some questions about the first book that needed answering. I thought this book was paced a lot better than the first book. The pacing in this book is great. Yeah, it just, I'm so amped to read Empire of the Dawn because of this book. And for 2025, this is a 3-horse race, but keep in mind I have not read Empire of the Dawn yet. I actually thought about delaying this video to read Empire of the Dawn, but I don't think I'm actually going to be able to get to it until next year. So I figured I wanted to do it before next year. So the 3 horses that are in this are Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett, The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, and Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. And for me, it is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This book is quickly paced. It's the conclusion to the Emily Wilde series. I love the Emily Wilde series. It's my 6th favorite series of all time. I think this conclusion was great. It was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. Don't get me wrong, there is some tension in here, but it is more of a heartwarming, uplifting tale that's going to make you smile the entire way. It has that classic sort of whimsical Heather Fawcett world building with a tinge of darkness to it. It's got some really, really cozy vibes to it as well, but not as cozy as the other two books, I would say, because this book, they were more in the fairyland and there's a lot of trouble going on. So, yeah, keep that in mind. But just a great book, front to back. Really love it. And that is my list from 1990 to 2025. This video is quite long, so if you stuck around to the end, thanks for watching. If you want more like this, let me know down below. Let me know what your favorite book is. Let me know what I've missed for each year. And yeah, if you want to see something from like 1970 through 1989, I can do that as well, because I do have that list kind of already made. But again, I am missing a couple of years, 1989, and I think like 76. I don't have like really solid options for. But I might be able to do that book sometime next year with some more reading.